Welcome to the tutorial for Hansen Technologies sizing, selection, and quoting tool. Today we'll be going over a saved quote, project type quote that you can save to your account on this software and go back and edit at a later date if you need to do so. So once you've registered, signed in, you've requested pricing access, you'll be able to complete this type of save quote. What you see here is the home screen. The home screen has a sizing tool. We're not going to go through the sizing tool. I will show you some examples of how to size and then quote and save. But as far as the features of the sizing tool, you can view the tutorial on our YouTube page for sizing. So we'll start off, we'll size a valve, we'll save a valve, and then we'll quote the valve. And then we'll go over how to add non-size valves as well. So to start out with, we'll go ahead and select these features. In fact, if you go to preferences, I'll just show you this feature. You can go ahead and default your sizing application. So I'll default to selection sizing, I'll default to ammonia, and I'll default to US. So that way each time I go to size a valve, I don't have to select these three top features every time. So we'll start off, we'll do an MVP, and then we'll do liquid feed to evaporators. So I'm just going to input some information here. Again, if you have questions about sizing, you can watch the sizing tutorial. But based on the conditions, it gives me three options. I'll select the middle option. And then what I'll do is I'll select the save icon. And this is going to take me to where I start building my project. So from there, you can add the quantity. So this example, we're just going to do a control group of 5. And then the room, we'll call it anything you want. So from here, you're starting to build your project. We're going to select save and continue selection. So just like in the non-save quote tutorial, this is going to look very similar. So here's where you build the configuration of your valve. So I'll select the connection type, the connection size. I'll select the final position. So if this was liquid feed, I'm going to do stop check hand expansion, and then a solenoid valve for the control feature. I will do less coils. And if I wanted the ACT coding, I could select ACT coding here, do yes. And then it's going to add the ACT. If I didn't want it, I could always select the top box to reset. So I'm going to select the save icon. And now that item has been saved to this project. So we'll keep building on this. We'll do a suction line. So I'll select this valve. I'll save it. To add to the existing project here, if you wanted to start a new project for for some specific reason, you would select new project. But since we're going to keep adding to this project, existing project, this is highlighted. It's going to go back and default the quantity since I selected 5 the first time for the liquid valve. So I have quantity, the room, the unit. All I have to do is change the valve, what I want to say for the valve, and then save and continue selection. So I'll build this valve real quick. Shut off valve in final position. Maybe I want a regulator. So I'll select regulator, and then what type of regulator I'll do with electric shutoff. And then the range for the pilot module, range A. And again, I'll select less coils. So I'll save it. I'll keep building the control group, MVP, hot gas supply. Give me 1.25 inches. 5. Quantity 5, still the shipping dock, still the same air units. Hot gas. Save and continue. So since we selected an MVP 32 that was size for us, it defaults the valve model and port size. Socket well body. Socket well 1.25 inch connections. We'll do a shutoff valve, then a solenoid valve, and again, less coils. We'll save it. One more MVP for the defrost relief. 1 inch. Quantity 5. Change this DC. Do socket well body. 1 inch connections. Do shut off. A regulator. And then we're going to do the reseated relief, the K feature. And then a range A. Now, again, you don't have to fill in all these options that are blank. You just have to fill in till you get the features that you want. So if you ever want to go and see what items you've already saved to the project, the icon saved items. Here's the project. Here's the 4 valves that we've sized and saved. If you want to go and continue adding a size valve, you would select size valve. If you want to add a non-size valve, you can select non-size valve. So I'll do an example for non-size. So we have these valves. So I'll go ahead and add the service valves or the gauge valves or the coils to this order. So add non-size valve. And here's the screen that we went over in the non-saved quote tutorial. So I'm going to go to non-configured valves and kits since there's not a product offering, family offering for gauge valves or coils right now. I'll start typing in H77 and it's going to pull up all the models that start with H77. So I'll do H771. If you wanted to see the description, it's a 1/4 inch gauge valve. So I'll select that. I'll save it. And then I'll add the quantity. So if I want a service valve, gauge valve for each MVP, we size 4, quantity 5 each. So I'll do 20. You can fill in the room here if you would like, the unit here. I'm just going to put the valve. I'll put service valve. Save it. So now I'm going to add the gauge valves that I need for the valves that will have a gauge like suction valve or the relief, the defrost condensate valve. So I'll use the long neck gauge valve, HGV1, 10. Save. I'll add the coils for the valves. So this would be 115 volt coil with the DIN connection. So I'll save it. 3 of the 4 valves we sized had coils, so 15. Then I'll add a pilot light. So to go back to your project, select saved items. And now here's the project. Here's all the items that we've added to this quote. If you want to size more items, you can select add size item. If you want to do more non-size item, you can do non-size item. A few features. If you wanted this edit tool, this is to edit the quantity, the room, the unit, the valve, any notes you want to put. This takes you to the details for the valve. To go back to your saved items, this will delete the line item, and then this takes you back to the details for the valve itself. So if you wanted to go and change the connection size or connection type, you could always go back and then you would change it and select the save item. Those are a few features that you could do for each line item. Again, you can sort, you can change these filters if you need to group things. So these would be all the items that we'd saved to our project. So we'd go up here and make sure we're on this project. And there's 2 features here. Again, the edit would just edit the information as far as the site, the project. Of course, if you wanted to delete it, there's 2 features here. One is the print icon, one is generate or request for quote icon. To print, it's going to print an Excel document with everything but the pricing. So I'll show you as an example. Select all the features, all the items that you created, print to Excel. And so here is the export, and you can see, you can go over all the model, the description, the quantity, the room, the unit, the valve, and then for the items we size, it's going to give you all the information that you input for those specific valves. So that's one feature. The other feature is the quote. So request for quote, you would select this item icon. You would select, if you wanted all of them, you would select all. If you just wanted a few, and then you could change the quantities if you would like on this page. And then view and submit. So here your customer's already account is built in. I'll show you quantities, list price, net price, and selling price. So just like on the non-saved quote tutorial, you can export it from here. I'll show you as an example. And so now you have your quote. You could finish filling these items in. And now you have a quote, you have the room it's going to, the air unit number, and here are the valve identifiers. So you could take this, save this to your desktop just like as a non-saved quote on that tutorial. Send it in to sales@handtech.com. So the next step on a non-saved quote is you could fill in this information. And so from here, what you would do is you would submit RFQ. So when you hit submit RFQ, this is going to automatically go to Hansen Technologies. So what will happen is Hansen will get the email. It'll reference this RFQ 2023608. And so what Hansen will do is they'll review that and then they'll send it back and you'll get an email saying, hey, your RFQ has been returned, and you'll go into your saved projects and then you'll be able to select this project and it'll show you the lead time. So two different ways, non-saved or saved. You can get the pricing without submitting to Hansen, but you could also submit to Hansen through this software and they'll return it after they review the pricing and the lead time and submit it back to you. If you have any questions on this saved project type quote, please contact sales@handtech.com or support@handtech.com. Thank you for viewing.